Well, hey there, fabulous book lovers. I am so incredibly excited because we are back for more Mer Week 2018. We are celebrating the release of the box set omnibus of the first three books, the first entire trilogy inside the Siren Wars Saga. It tells Selena's complete story and has an exclusive bonus prequel novella with everyone's favorite brooding merman. And I cannot wait for you guys to join us for the launch next Tuesday. And every day until then, we are doing interviews with professional mermaids and mermen. We have a Shell Crown craft broadcast and a kickin' release party for this series. I cannot wait for you guys to join us. And today we have one of my favorite people ever, Morgana of the Circus Siren Pod. I am so incredibly excited to see you. You and I have actually had the opportunity to meet in person and to be on a live broadcast together. But I'm so excited to have you here for Mer Week. How are you?
I'm really, really good. It's a busy, wonderful fall for the Circus Siren Pod, so I'm excited to be able to sit down with you.
I am so thrilled. I know you've been really busy. We actually met at a Renaissance fair, and you are back at the Carolina Ren Fair right now, right?
We are. We're down at the Carolina Renaissance Fair for the entire run, and we'll be there for at least the next 3 years.
Oh, wow, even fancier. That's amazing. If you are joining us live, we are so incredibly excited to see you. Jump down into those comments and let us know if you have a question or a comment for Morgana and all things mermaid. And if you're on our rebroadcast, we want to hear from you too. If you've got questions, if you've got comments, leave them down below. And if you happen to come up with something that we did not answer on air but is so good we can't resist having Morgana back, I might just be able to convince her to come back and hang out with us again. So hit us up if you are on our replay. And if you're here with us live, we want your questions now. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Let us know that you are here and what color tail you would have if you were a mermaid. Speaking of which, Morgana, I know you have a whole bunch of really amazing tails. I actually got the opportunity to see one of them. Tell us all about how many you have and what they look like.
Ooh, are we limiting it to silicone or like professional grade tails or total tails?
Total. Go with all of them.
So of the ones, I've got 3 that I don't wear, like 3 that are child-sized for events, so I'm not going to count those. So then I have 4 silicones, 2 fabrics, 1 hybrid, and another hybrid on the way. So 8.
That's amazing. Now, do you have a particular color scheme, or do you kind of have a whole rainbow of colors?
Well, the tails are a variety of colors because I run a whole company, so they get lent out to different people. But my personal colors, I do rose gold. So it's a lot of blush and bronze and copper because nobody has actually made a rose gold tail, so I use a palette to kind of get that effect.
I love it. We have Shannon hanging out in the comments. She says, hi, fishes. And we've also got Melanie. She absolutely loves the Circus Siren Pod. We thank you for being here, showing up.
We love Melanie.
Do you? I don't know Melanie yet, but Melanie, we should be friends. Come hang out. I'm super excited to see you. Freedom Matthews, author of Inherited, is here hanging out with us, giving us all the heart eye emojis. And Colleen is also here joining us. If you've got questions, if you've got comments, now is the time to ask us. Drop them below because we are talking all things the Siren Wars Saga and all things Circus Siren Pod. Let us know what questions you have because we cannot wait to get them answered. So Morgana, tell me a little bit about the Circus Sirens. I know this is a company that you created. This is kind of your baby. Yeah. How many girls do you have working with you, and what is the overall thing that you're doing with your pod?
So we're a performance troupe. Some of us are qualified to teach classes, and some of us are models, but the core of our company is that we do live performance for every manner of things. You know, you've come and joined us at Ren Fairs, but we also do children's birthday parties, we do corporate galas, we do fundraising events, we do grand openings. One of the coolest gigs I ever did was actually swimming for a Foo Fighters concert. That was the grand opening of a concert venue.
Wow, that is fancy. I did not know that.
I always tell people, if you can swim it, we do it.
That's amazing. Speaking of swimming, I have to ask, and I have to bring this up. You have the most amazing travel tank that I've ever seen. It is the coolest thing. I'm not going to ruin it. I want you to tell us all about it, but tell me, how did you come up with the idea of creating this tank, and then what all went into it?
So I can't take complete credit because I didn't design it. The tank is a 9-foot tall acrylic cylinder, which is an extremely rare shape because it's a very difficult shape to manufacture. And it's huge. It's 9 feet tall. It's 8 feet in diameter. It holds 3,000 gallons of water. It's one of the biggest travel tanks out there, not the biggest, but one of the biggest, and certainly the tallest. And I actually got it, we road trip. One of the first big Circus Siren Pod trips was to Canada to pick this up. It was originally a showpiece for a custom aquarium manufacturing company, one of those extremely high-end places that make all the crazy aquariums for like billionaires. This was one of their showpieces that sat in their lobby to show just what incredible things they could do. And when they ended up closing down, they sold it to a local mermaid in Canada, and I ended up buying it off her and bringing it down to the US.
Wow, that is amazing. Now, I have been dying to ask you, I don't know if you're going to want to reveal all the secrets, but how do you transport that thing? Because it is massive.
I'll tell you, our secret is actually a partner company that we work with called Silken Alchemy, and it's owned by a gentleman named Greg, and he actually built us a custom trailer to be able to strap that tank to. So we bought a flatbed trailer, and then he did a custom steel basket to be able to transport it. But it does take a forklift to get on and off the trailer. It weighs a literal ton.
Now, do you transport it with the water in it? Because I'm dying to know.
Oh, God, absolutely not. No, so when it's full, it weighs 15 tons. People don't realize how heavy water is. Water weighs almost 9 pounds a gallon. So it's it would be impossible to transport it full. Now, if I owned a semi-truck, maybe you could talk. But I'm not quite ready to upgrade to a semi yet.
So how long does it take to fill it then?
That depends. At Mermaid Megafest, we filled it in 20 minutes because they brought in a professional pool filling company. They dropped 4-inch hose in there, done and done. At Carolina, where we were working off well water, it took an entire day to fill, like a solid 10, 12 hours, because they just have very little water pressure working off the wells that are down there.
Alyssa's in the comments and she says, that's crazy. And Freedom is joining her saying, whoa, that is a lot of water.
It is a lot of water. There's a lot of logistics that go into having a tank, any tank, but particularly a tank that size.
And you have the coolest things within your tank. I know I recently discovered that you could turn it pink, and that made me so incredibly happy.
I will tell you the secret there. It's not pink.
It's not pink?
It's a backdrop.
Oh, it's a backdrop.
Because the tank is completely clear all the way around, we can change the color by adding a backdrop. And it's been really wonderful. You'll see photos of it where it looks like seafoam green. You'll see photos of it where it's got this pink purple. You'll see photos of it where it's like deep, rich blue. And it makes it really easy for us to adjust it to the event and to what our clients are looking for an effect. Do they want dark, creepy sirens? Do they want fresh out of the ocean? Or do they want, like the case of the Carolina Ren Fair, something more magical and mystical?
Which is amazing. And I love that you kind of brought up that you have all of those sides to your mermaids. You've got the darker, more siren type things, and you've got those more magical pinks as well, which actually brings me to something that I think is really, really cool. If you are here joining us live, I might just have a little gift for you in the form of an interactive choose your own adventure game where you can take a quiz and your answers will help determine whether you are a mermaid or a siren. And then, because we're talking all about the Siren Wars Saga today, you can actually read through the story and determine if that answer is actually correct. Do you fit in more with the sirens or more with the mermaids inside of the world of the Siren Wars Saga? So if you're joining me live, what I want you to do is jump into the comments and you are going to type in Siren Mer Quiz. And when you type in the words Siren Mer Quiz, I'm actually going to pop up in your direct message inbox, and you are going to be able to play through this game right now to determine whether you are a siren or a mermaid. And then, of course, if you want to read the Siren Wars Saga and see if it's a correct fit for you, all you got to do is go to sirenwarsinfo.k.m.robinsonbooks.com, because I am giving you the first book inside of the Siren Wars Saga for free. Check it out right now. You can get your hands on a copy. All platforms, it is currently free. sirenwarsinfo.k.m.robinsonbooks.com. And unfortunately, I see that my words on my screen have cut off the end of that website. So apologies there. It's a little bit on the glitchy side today. But k.m.robinsonbooks.com is the end of that. And you get the first book inside of the first trilogy inside of the Siren Wars Saga to check that out. We've got a lot of people hanging out here. Shannon says that you are great at interviews, Morgana. Colleen says, oh, fun. Grace is saying mermagical.
Oh.
And Alyssa says, what a process. We're talking all about your backgrounds inside of your tank and that she absolutely loves it. And Angie is here saying she's so proud of you for making your dreams
I've
come.
known Angie a long time.
Well, hey, Angie, we are super excited to see you. Sounds like you're a pretty good person to know, so I'm thrilled to pieces that you are here hanging out with us today. And speaking of dreams, how long have you actually wanted to do mermaiding?
I honestly, there wasn't a big gap between wanting to do it and doing it. So for a lot of people, they dreamed of being a mermaid from a little girl. I didn't have that upbringing. I was actually very afraid of the water growing up. But I started working in the circus arts about 10 years ago now, back in college. And so I became a circus artist, and I started out as an aerialist. And then I got into things like fire and things like stilts. And then I saw photos of circus performers that were combining mermaids with their circus act. And I decided, you know what, I'll do that. And I have a tendency to just sort of jump into things with both fins, if you will. So I got online, and this was back in 2012. It was before Finfolk even existed. There were only a couple tail makers out there, and not all of them were very legitimate. So I ended up finding a tail off eBay and sinking way too much money into it, and decided, you know what, this was a thing, and I was going to do it.
That's amazing. And you have been doing such a spectacular job of it. You've grown this into an incredible brand. Yeah. And I, much like your friends here joining us today, I'm super proud of everything that you've done. If you are joining us live, we want to hear from you guys. Let us know what questions you have for Morgana all about being a mermaid, her work in the circus, which I'm kind of extra excited about. I'm going to not ask too many questions. I will get her back. I will get her back because, and I'm going to tell you guys a secret, we may or may not be announcing soon-ish that we have new anthologies coming out with Crescent Sea Publishing, and one of them might be circus themed. So we might just drag Morgana back for some really cool stuff in 2018 for that. But if you have questions about her time in the circus, feel free to ask. I will ask. I'm just not going to do it on my own yet because I'm trying to focus on mermaids. But if you've got questions about mermaids, if you have questions about the Circus Siren Pod, let us know right now. Shannon is in the comments, and she's saying that she doesn't think Morgana is a siren or a mermaid. She's a hybrid of both, covered in glitter with unicorns in her bloodline somewhere.
I think that's supposed to be Hulk, possibly Hulk, because
yes. Yeah, it is. There's a comment after it. She also says possibly Hulk because you can Hulk smash.
Oh. Shannon is actually one of our alternates, and she is performing with us down in North Carolina at the Carolina Ren Fair.
That's so exciting. Well, hello, Shannon. We're super glad to see you and your fabulous spins here. Morgana, how many girls do you have working with you?
So the team there's 8 members of the core performance team, and those are the ones who've gone through my rigorous training program. They're freediver certified, they're lifeguard certified, they are the core of the group. And then we have 5 alternates, which are countrywide. We have Mermaid Katie out in Ohio, Mermaid Shannon in North Carolina, as well as Lila in Hawaii, and then Linda and Gabby are down in Florida. So they work with us when we are in their area, or we farm gigs out to them because they're all fantastic performers in their own right. And then I'll tell you now, nothing is determined just yet, but I do have 3 potential mermen who are going to begin training next month.
Girl, you should have told me before Mer Week. I would have dragged them on. That's awesome.
Well, they're not announced yet, but they start next month, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay, well, once they start and get themselves established, we might just do an extra Mer Week bonus. I'm just saying.
I would love that.
I would love that too, and I know my fans would as well. Kim is joining us in the comments. She says, hello. We are super excited to see you. Your picture is a little small here, but it looks like you have some fun colored hair, so I like you already, Kim. All right. So we've got a lot of things going on today. We are celebrating the release of the box set omnibus of the Siren Wars Saga, Selena's Complete Trilogy, which is the first 3 books in the Siren Wars Saga, plus an exclusive bonus prequel novella from everyone's favorite merman, since we're talking about fabulous mermen. Mm-hmm. we are thrilled because we've got so many good things happening this week. We are hanging out with a bunch of professional mermaids and mermen. We are doing a seashell crown craft day on Sunday. We even have the Circus Siren Pod coming to us live from the Carolina Ren Fair.
That'll be Saturday. We're very excited.
I am so excited. It's going to be absolutely awesome. We're going to have...
You guys get to see that tank because we'll go sit right in front of it.
That would be so much fun. Melanie is here. She says, oh, mermen. We could get some awesome photos with mermaids and mermen.
Yes, Melanie is the Circus Siren Pod's photographer. She does just incredible work.
Ah, fantastic. Well, Melanie, we are glad to have you here. I'm also a photographer, so I always love meeting new photographers. Make sure you say hello later. All right, if you've got questions, if you've got comments, we want to hear from you. And right now, I need you all to do us a favor. Jump down and hit the share button on this video. When you hit share, that tells Facebook that we are doing something good, and Facebook should be showing it to more people. When they show it to more people, that lets me do more fun events like Mer Week. I can have more guests like Morgana on to interview. I also interview authors. We've got our weekly talk shows. We've got all sorts of fun, fabulous things going on here. And the more you help me by clicking that share button, the more I can do for you. So if you are absolutely loving our Mermaid Week and our mermaid interviews, go ahead and hit that share button right now and help your girl out. Melanie says that is super cool. I love meeting other photographers. Me too. So much fun, right? If you've got questions, if you've got comments, now is a great time to drop those in. We're going to be hanging out for a few more minutes, and we want to make sure we get everything answered possible. And if you're on our replay, we want to hear from you too. We will be monitoring these comments. We want to hear from you, so make sure that you are getting the best questions that you can, and we might just be able to drag Morgana back for more. Now, Morgana, my dear, I have to know, you've had so many experiences as a mermaid. What has been your absolute favorite?
Oh, wow. You know, I should be more prepared for that question, but I'm not. Everything has been so different. I love to travel. So when I get to perform in Jamaica, or I get to perform, I'm going to Mexico next week after next. I prefer to travel. But I think the best event I've had so far was we did an event at Harrah's Casino in Atlantic City. And what was special for me about that is that I got to have 6 members of the pod there. So it was a larger event. It's one of the few events that we've had that many of the team together. And it wasn't so much the event itself. The event itself was pretty standard. We do our synchronized swimming routines. We do, we do high-end corporate events like that on a fairly regular basis. But what made that special was that it was the first big team trip where all of us, piled into the cars and traveled together rather than it just being 1 or 2 people going off. And that really made it, I think, my favorite event today.
That is so much fun. And I love when everybody gets together and just gets to hang out and relax behind the scenes. So the fact that you get to travel together makes it extra fun.
Absolutely.
All right. So I need to know, speaking of traveling, how do you transport your tails? This is something I'm dying to ask. I recently just got my first 2 fabric tails. I know. It's so exciting. I absolutely love them. I was at the beach last week doing some photo shoots, which is really exciting. But I got to know, how do you transport these tails?
So because I like you, I'm going to tell you a secret that I actually haven't said anywhere. So that in a second, you'll get an exclusive here.
Okay.
So short answer to your question is I like to wrap mine in a yoga mat because mine's too big to fit in anything else really. Some of our girls use a garment bag, like a hanging garment suitcase that they can fold theirs into. And that depends on your monofin and size and what have you. Because of the tail transportation issue, and because we work so closely with the company, with Silk and Alchemy that does our fabrication, we are in relatively early phases of designing hard-cased tail bags.
Ah, that's amazing.
Wheels. They will have backpack straps. They will be available for sale, hopefully in the spring.
That's cool.
But they will be custom fit to your tail, so that you know that it's safe and you can fly with it, and it'll have locks and the whole 9.
So that is amazing.
Myself in the fin here by letting that information slip before we have everything finalized. But the design is in the works. The fabrication of prototypes is starting, and we're hoping to kind of solve that tail transportation issue for the industry.
That is amazing because it is a huge issue. Like I have been trying to research it's a hard thing to handle. So I'm really glad to hear that. That's very exciting. Kim is in the comments, and she would like to know if you have any tips for modeling underwater.
Yes, I do. So my biggest tip that I tell people all the time is don't try to make sexy face. Like people have this, especially people who haven't modeled a lot, tend to go for this like Kardashian, like I don't know, sexy face. It doesn't read underwater. The water kind of flattens you out. So if you're not giving a lot of expression, you just sort of look blank. So I always tell people it's a time to smile and be a little bit goofy or coy or whatever, but anything you do, you kind of have to do it a little extra hard because the subtleties don't read as well underwater.
Very good tips. I love that. So guys, you are modeling underwater, and let's just talk for a second about how amazing that is. Make sure that you are very expressive, which I love. All right. Melanie wants to know, how much can tails weigh, and why do you need to put them in bags?
Fair enough. So tails can weigh up to 50 pounds. And they're expensive. When you buy a professional grade tail, you're probably going to spend north of $2,000. So it's a big investment. And when you're flying or you're traveling or you're hauling your tail all over Kingdom Come, the way we do as performers, you want to make sure it's protected and safe. So the normal way to do that is to find a case big enough that your monofin, which is stiff typically, unless you have tails by certain tail makers that have more flexible build to them, but it has to be big enough to contain that big fluke, and then you sort of fold the body of the tail on top of it. But if you're going to, I nearly died once climbing a waterfall, hauling my tail up, like wrapped up in its yoga mat, so and down the other side. And if I could have put it on my back with backpack straps or something, it would have been a lot easier for a team like us where we fly all over. Having a bag that we could actually check and not have to worry about it being destroyed in transit would be extremely important.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those big things when it comes to flying, I think.
Absolutely.
Merman Dan is here hanging out and says tail bags, but then you won't get those looks when you walk across the parking lot holding your tail over your shoulder at the pool.
Well, and he makes a fabulous joke, but it's actually kind of been a problem for us because when we do events with kids and they don't have a back exit or a back entrance, trying to essentially sneak in or out when you don't have a way to pack your tail into something inconspicuous is problematic.
I can definitely see how that would definitely be a problem. Yikes. But Dan, you are right. That is kind of fun on occasion, as long as you're not trying to be professional about it. Kim would like to know, do you insure your tails?
I do. So you have a choice. You can insure them when they're in your house and only covered by your homeowners or your renters policy. With all our performers are insured because they need to be in order to perform at these venues. So there's options to most performer insurance called inland marine, where you can actually add on insurance for your tails. For my particular policy, it has a $500 deductible. So it may not be worth it if you're performing in a fabric tail, because you could just replace your fabric for less than that anyway. But if you're traveling with silicone tails, it protects your tails to, from, or at any gig from damage or theft. So absolutely worth it for me, who has thousands of dollars worth of tanks and tails that need protection.
Yeah, definitely something you need to make sure that you have covered should anything happen. I know that there's a big difference between fabric and silicone tails. So can you talk a little bit about how you feel about both of those and which is easier to put on?
Easier to put on is definitely fabric. Hands down, no competition there. I think that fabric tails are great. They're great to travel with. They're lighter. I think for most professional events at the professional level, one of the things that most people expect is something that looks more realistic than a fabric tail does. So that's not to say that you can't use a fabric tail in a professional setting. There's settings where the gig may call for that because, I don't know, for whatever reason. Oh, hello. Sorry, I have a cat. For whatever reason, the silicone tail is too big or whatever. But for the most part, most professionals will perform in a silicone tail, whereas fabric tails are more for fun and photos and getting to go swim in places that you wouldn't be able to haul a silicone.
Wonderful. Kim is actually in the comments, and she wants to know, what do you tell a child that says that mermaids are not real?
Well, if they say mermaids aren't real, my pirate has a lovely line where he asks them if they think that everyone in the room is just collectively hallucinating the same thing at the same time. Obviously, I'm real if we're all seeing me. If they tell me I specifically am not real or they don't believe that I'm a real mermaid, I tell them I don't believe they're a real child.
I like it. I do like that. I used to teach, and I would say sassy things like that to my students as well, so I'm a big fan of that one. Melanie wants to know, what would you say to someone who wants a silicone tail? Any warnings or added information that you would want them to know about owning a professional grade silicone tail?
I would tell them that it's a lot of expense, it's a lot of work, and it's definitely not something you want to jump into, especially if you haven't done mermaiding before. You don't even really know if you like it. So I always tell people to start out with just a monofin or start out with just fabric, because between the weight and the unwieldiness and the financial investment, it's not something you want to buy just to find out that you don't like it. So
Right.
start out with the fabric, get stronger, because again, they are heavy, they are unwieldy. And then as you get better at swimming and you decide this is something you do want to invest in, then just definitely do your research. There's a lot of tail makers out there. It's not like it's a regulated industry. Anybody can get up there and decide that they're going to make a tail. And there's been bad apples in the business before. So go with somebody reputable, definitely do your research, check your reviews, and make sure that you get the tail of your dreams.
Fantastic. And I would also offer that if you don't know how to do your research on this, reach out to some of the mermaids that you follow on social media. I'm sure they'll have lots and lots of tips and lots of advice on which companies are good to work with and which is going to be the best for you. So I have to ask, Morgana, mer kitties, is that a thing?
Yes. We prefer the term permaid.
Oh, I love that so much.
So this is Kingsley. He's very cuddly.
Hi, Kingsley. I love when people have their pets on the show too. So guys,
there's Sirius, Kingsley, and Tonks. There might be a theme.
Oh, I like it. Hey, listen, if you've got pets, let us know what you've got. We would love to hear from you.
They don't like water so much, except for this one because he's part Maine Coon, so he absolutely will get in water.
Ah, well, there you go. We should establish a photo shoot with you and your cats.
Oh, I would love that. We just finished our koi ponds in the backyard. Wow. So once I get all the decoration in, that would just be lovely.
Oh, that's amazing. I am looking forward to seeing that. Kim says, what is your favorite exercise to strengthen for using a silicone tail?
Okay, so I'm not the right person to ask because all I'm going to recommend is circus exercises, which are not something you can just jump into. I always tell people with silicone tails, you're going to want to build core. I mean, and honestly, swimming is probably the best way to do that. Put on your fabric tail, swim long distances, swim till you get tired, swim till you're sore, because you're working the actual muscles that you will be working when you're in a silicone tail. Me personally, I like aerial dance. You hang from your arms, you end up lifting your entire lower section by your abs. So it's a very quick way to get fit, but a very exhausting and physically demanding one as well.
Absolutely. That definitely requires a lot of work. And most of us cannot jump straight into that.
I wouldn't recommend that either. Yeah.
I feel like at some point we're just going to have to hang out and you're going to have to teach me some of these fun things over the process of like 2 years.
I've got freestanding rigs. We can do this.
Oh, that's okay. So we're actually going to make this happen now.
Well, actually, half the Circus Siren Pod performance team are accomplished aerialists.
Really? I did not know that.
Mermaid Jessa Lee, Mermaid Katya, and Mermaid Caitlin are all professional, qualified performing aerialists in their own right.
That's amazing. Oh my goodness. I feel like at some point we're just going to have to sit down aside from Mer Week. English is hard for me today. Aside from Mer Week, we will have to sit down and I'll just have to interview every single one of your people and just find out all of these amazing things.
We're a lot of fun. So a lot of good stories there.
And you guys are all so good at interacting with each other too. I know down at the Renaissance Fair where we met, you guys were just so wonderful about the way that you interacted with each other and with the fans. And I love that you just kind of love each other.
And we really do. And that's something that it's been interesting because for most of us, none of us were the people that had the group of girlfriends in high school or any of that. We were all sort of outcasts. We were all sort of ostracized. And we all just kind of figured that we just weren't that kind of girl, you know? And then we got together in this pod and I see what people talk about. We have an extremely tight team. We're all extremely close. You know, we'll sleep over each other's houses. We'll show up for each other in the middle of the night. It's the most tightly knit and dedicated team I've ever had the immense honor to be a part of.
which is amazing. I know on social media, you actually refer to each other as your sisters.
We are, yeah. So, and we do to the fans as well. We explain that the Circus Siren Pod is an adopted pod. We're an adopted family. And it plays into some of our backstories. For example, Mermaid Katya is the last of her kind, and she lost her original family to pollution. So now she is with the Circus Siren Pod. But we definitely refer to each other as sisters. It's a family to us.
That's amazing. I love that. And I love that you all have these amazing backstories as well for your Mersonas. Speaking of which, I know that you have an event coming up where people can learn to create their own Mersonas. Tell us a little bit about Mermagicon.
So Mermagicon is an East Coast mermaid convention. It's coming to Manassas, Virginia. It's just south of DC, and it's going to be really great. I'm very excited. So we're going to have events and classes and seminars for all levels, from enthusiast right up to professional. For kids, there'll be things like Meet a Mermaid and learn how to swim like a mermaid, we have mermaid classes that are going to be taught by Metro Merfolk, which is an instructional group up here. And then for the enthusiasts, there's going to be photo shoot opportunities. There's going to be panels with mermaids from around the world. We're going to have a wonderful Mermaids in the Media panel that you might see one of your favorite authors on.
Who could that be?
And then for the professionals or hardcore enthusiasts, there's things like freediving. There's intro to silicone sculpting. There's going to be make your own mercessory classes. And we're actually going to be holding the first ever open call auditions for the Circus Siren Pod.
That is so incredibly exciting. I am looking forward to it. I jumped in as soon as I heard about it. I was so excited for this.
We're so excited to have you. We really are.
I'm so thrilled. It's going to be so much fun. And I know that you also have a mermaid ball, right?
We do. Saturday night is the Mermaid Gala. It's going to be held at the Wyndham, which is the convention hotel. It's open bar, which I'm really excited about. So, and dressing in your greatest mermaid haute couture is extremely highly encouraged. I'm actually looking at having something made for it. So,
oh, you're getting all fancy on us now. I like it.
But no, it's definitely a place to cut loose with all your mermaid friends and bring your best mermaid fashion.
That is so awesome. We've got people in the comments saying we are excited for all the mermaids. Metro Merfolk, we are excited to hang out with you too. Alyssa says, wow, that's awesome. And Merman Dan is here hanging out talking about his Mersona and how it centers around living tattoos, a sea hag's magic, and a bad fish sandwich.
This is a bit more complicated than mine.
Just a little. Mermagicon is here. Mermagicon is here hanging out with us. And the gala is going to be mermazing. I'm so excited for it.
See, and you can tell I didn't write that because I don't mermaid pun.
I know you don't. I was watching your announcement for the Mermagicon.
When you started punning?
Yes. I made a mental note to not do anything to you while we were on air because I know you're not a fan of it, but I definitely do it sometimes. Sorry, guilty.
That's all right. It comes with the territory.
It does. But you know, I haven't been in it as long as you have, and so I'm still enjoying all the mermaid jokes. Speaking of which, guys, help me out. I need some new material. I'm not going to read them on air, but I do want you to leave me your best mermaid puns that I can use on my social media for the Siren Wars Saga. So let me know. What do you have? Give me something good. I got to get some new material to work with. All right, we are coming to the end of our time hanging out with Morgana today. If you have any last minute questions, now is the time. Jump down to those comments and let us know what we need to get answered before we go off air. And before we do anything else, Morgana, I want you to give your best advice to young people who are inspired by mermaids. What do they need to know?
Don't let anyone talk you out of it. I mean, I'm living proof that you can grow up to be a mermaid. It's a real life decision. And I hate watching people that have all this energy and spark and passion for it get discouraged by the world around them. The whole thing about mermaids is that we don't belong to this world. So don't let the fact that the rest of the world doesn't understand stop you.
Guys, that was a tweetable moment. If you don't quote that on Twitter and tag us, we're going to be very sad at you. I just feel like that needs to be like the tagline for the Circus Siren Pod and for Mermagicon and like every ever.
No, we have one already. It's No Dead Mermaids.
What was that?
No dead mermaids.
No dead mermaids.
Yeah, non merda serena in Latin.
I like it.
Yeah, it's rule number 1 of the pod.
I feel like I could say so much on this topic. I love it.
It's mostly what our head wrangler Randy yells at us when we're doing something stupid or dangerous. So.
Oh, well, there you go. Don't kill yourself. Good rule. Good rule. Oh, we are getting some good ones. Hey, Jessica Julian, thanks for joining. We appreciate you being here. We love seeing each and every one of you. And thank you guys so much for joining us for our live broadcast here. If you still have questions, if you still have comments, if you're on our replay, drop your love in those comments below, and we will be checking out those comments throughout the course of the next couple of days. And make sure you play our Mermaid versus Siren quiz game as well. Now, I do have a couple of things to tell you about, but before we get there, as I tell you just a couple of things about upcoming events for Mer Week, and, you know, how some of you will be winning gifts just for being here and commenting today. Oh, which I didn't tell you until just now. The more you comment, the more likely you are to win a trinket that I got from the ocean for you. And when I say trinket, I actually mean like a trinket bag. I got some cool stuff while I was away at the ocean. And so you have a chance to win if you were commenting below, even if you're on the replay. Before we get to all of our good, fabulous, wonderful giveaways, we do want to thank Morgana for joining us today. Any last thoughts for people before I ask for your socials?
Last thoughts. I mean, again, it's just don't let the world beat the mermaid out of you.
Perfect. All right. So where can everybody find you?
So you can follow the pod. We're Circus Siren Pod. We're on Instagram and Facebook. The Mer Magic Con is also on both Instagram and Facebook at, you guessed it, Mer Magic Con. We're not super creative. And then you can follow me as well. It's Morgana Alba, and I have a fan page if you'd like to follow that. But most of the fun mermaid news goes out over the Circus Siren Pod's Facebook page.
Fantastic. And if you want to check out Morgana on Facebook, she is at Circus Siren. I know this because I looked it up. You can go make sure you follow her. Her
on Instagram.
Yes. Her social media is amazing. You definitely want to check that out as well. And if you have not followed the Circus Siren Pod, make sure you do. That was actually how I discovered they would be at the Renaissance Fair and how we met. And all these magical, wonderful things have happened since. So if you have not followed their incredible social media, make sure that you do. And now we are at the point of our broadcast where I got to let you know we've got some cool things coming up for Mer Week. So we are continuing to do our mermaid interviews. Join me tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be hanging out with Mist the Mermaid. I actually had the opportunity to meet her at a mermaid party in New Jersey with Fin Fun Mermaids recently. You guys have seen some photos of her over on my social media. She will be joining us to talk all about her time with the Long Island Mermaid Pod. It's going to be lots and lots of fun, and we have more members of the Circus Siren Pod joining us over the next couple of days for interviews right here on facebook.com/k.m.robinson books, and they will be joining us live from the Carolina Renaissance Fair. I am incredibly excited for this. It's going to be so much fun. We get to see that amazing tank as well. Now, if you want even more fun, we are not just limiting this to our mermaid interviews. We will be jumping online on Sunday, October 7th at 3 p.m. for our Shell Crown Craft Day. We will be making shell crowns for under $5. We're going to be doing it live on air, step by step. We will be making them together with special guests, Annie Sullivan, who is author of A Touch of Gold, which just came out from Harper. It has mermaids in it, and she is an absolute doll. You're going to have so much fun. And we also have some amazing mermaids joining us for that as well. And we will be doing our book launch party on Tuesday for the Siren Wars Saga, Selena's complete trilogy. It's amazing. We've got those bonus novellas in there as well. We cannot wait for you to join us for that. We will be joined by Mermaid Tasha as well. There will be games. There will be party gifts. There's going to be all sorts of fun giveaways. And I can't wait for you to join us for that as well. If you have more questions, if you have a mermaid I need to meet, if you are a mermaid who wants to hang out, or if you're an author who wants to hang out, let me know, because I would love to hang out with you guys as well. And we are going to be live every single day with one or more mermaid and mermen during Mer Week until next Tuesday. So I hope you will join us live for that. If you are excited for the Siren Wars Saga, you can get the first book for free right now by going to sirenwarsinfo.k.m.robinsonbooks.com. Let me see if it pulls the entire thing up this time. Yes, it did. sirenwarsinfo.k.m.robinsonbooks.com. You can get the first book for free right now to see if this is the series for you. And then you can pre-order the entire first trilogy plus that exclusive bonus novella by going to Siren Wars Info.k.m.robinsonbooks.com. And hey, if that's not enough mermaid books for you, don't worry, because I have an entirely different mermaid book called The Sinking. It's a dark retelling of The Little Mermaid. Very twisted, not what you expect. The Sea Witch wants to silence her, but not for the reason you might think, which you can also check out right now. Thanks, guys, so much for joining us. I hope you will continue to join me for more mermaid broadcasts over the next couple of days, plus our special events for the launch of the box set omnibus of the Siren Wars Saga Selena's Complete Trilogy. Morgana, thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate you being here as always, and I cannot wait to see you at Mermagicon in February.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to have you out to Mermagicon.